welcome to Expert Talk. I'm Tigo. Today we're going to talk about notes. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing. Today we're going to talk about real estate. So sit right there. I'll be right back. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, I am honored to be here with you today, and I'm just here to serve your audience and share a little bit of my expert knowledge on a couple things.
Well, a couple of things. Okay. You say a couple of things like, well, I can make a great grilled cheese sandwich. I mean, you do some amazing stuff, Mr. You got, what is that on your shirt? Note Wars. I mean, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about this thing called International Podcast Day. Who knew there was such an animal? And then on top of that, you do a little thing called real estate. And you're this real estate guy. Okay, so got that out of the way. Now we got to talk about Star Wars because of your shirt. I mean, come on. I know you're a Star Wars fan. You have to be. You have to be.
I grew up with it. Definitely a fan there. I like to use marketing, any type of marketing I can with pop culture and stuff like that to connect with our audience and connect with things. So it says Note Wars on here, not Star Wars. But I'm in the note business, and this ties into my real estate stuff. So for the last 12 plus years, I've been buying distressed debt or notes direct from banks and working to keep people in their homes by buying the debt at a discount and then working to modify the loan if we can. And so as an educator, I've been teaching other investors how to do this for the last 10 years. And so we did a series on Note Wars,
So you're the Note Jedi.
I'm the Note Jedi, yes. I've been doing it for a while. Helped thousands of other investors tap into the world of distressed debt and been teaching. So yeah, I did not coin it. Somebody else coined it. I was like, it kind of fits. We'll use it for marketing.
Okay, so let's back up for a second because our viewers are probably watching going, wait a minute, what does he mean? He buys debt and he does notes and is it music? What is he talking about? So can you break that down for a couple of minutes and just tell us what you mean?
I would be glad to. So what I do is, if you've ever watched the movie The Big Short, would be kind of a great kind of starting point. We're very similar to that in a smaller level. So what we do, instead of us going out and buying the single family homes or the foreclosures, we actually will contact the banks directly. And banks, especially right now, with everything going all crazy with COVID, you got a lot of people, one out of every basically 12 borrowers is at least 90 days or greater behind their mortgage. And the further they get in default, the more likely the banks are willing to sell that debt off to other funds or other banks or investors like me. Now, I don't buy from like the big four, Bank of America, Chase, Citi, or Wells. They're selling stuff off in like huge $50 million pools. We work with a lot of regional banks and smaller banks who will come and buy an individual note at a big discount, become the bank at that point, and we have the same rights as the bank does. And we reach out to the homeowner, say, listen, I know you've been through a financial hiccup, or grandma got run over by a reindeer, or you're living your own country western song, whatever it might be. What do you want to stay? Do you want to stay in your house? Okay, let's figure out a way to get you back on track.
So at a time like this, because you mentioned COVID, so we got to touch on it because we're in the middle of it. In a time like this, we're not real sure where the market's going to go. How are you handling the stress level, and how do you determine when you're gonna that's it, I've tried? You have a system in place, I'm sure, that says we've tried every check mark and now we must take it to that next level. What do you think?
So Here's the thing. People have talked about, the market's going to rebound fast. It is not going to rebound fast. We're at record default rates. We're at 1 out of every 12 borrowers is behind at least 90 days in the mortgage. Before COVID, we were already at 1 out of 10 borrowers was at least 30 days behind. Okay? So when small business going out of business, commercial companies, a huge amount of bankruptcies being filed across the board, divorces at an all-time high because of all people being stuck at home. It's not going to rebound. Yes, a lot of people are excited. Oh, buy a house. Houses are selling fast in some cases. That's the truth. But if people can't go to work or they've been laid off, they're either going to pick and choose to either pay for their Happy Meal and let their happy house go the sideways. All right? And the banks would rather, for them, it makes more valuable for them to sell that debt to me at a discount and let me come in. I didn't originate it. I can come in, buy that debt at a cheap price. I'm not emotionally tied to the origination side. But now I can give the flexibility to the borrowers to listen, what do you need to do? Do we need to do like a modification, a partial payment plan to help you get back on your track? Do I need to give you some money to walk away from the house so that you don't have a foreclosure on your record? We can get really creative. Now, I don't handle the phone calls out to the borrowers. There are servicing companies and vendors that do that for me. Don't get me wrong, I've gotten the phone, had interesting conversations. Occasionally I'll talk to a borrower, but there are companies out there that handle that, I guess you could say, that day in, day out phone calls, the mailing. So that all I have to do is get with my team and say, okay, what assets are we buying? What did the borrower say that they wanted to do? What are their options? Here's what we're offering. What do they want to do? Okay, we'll make this work. Did they follow through that? If they didn't follow through that, do we need to escalate it to legal? And if that's the case, then we kick it to our attorneys and let them run with it so that I'm not having to sit here and, I'm throwing grandma out or I'm throwing somebody out. In those situations, like I've got a lady in Florida who's been living in a house right now, get this, hasn't paid me in 8 years because she was on a Social Security. She barely could make enough to pay the taxes on the house. I'm not going to throw her out. She has no family in a wheelchair. I've made an arrangement with her years ago. So just stay in your house, pay the taxes. When you pass on, then we'll deal with that house. But I don't care if you're living there another 5 years or 10 years. And then you've got another borrower out there who's lived in a house for 20 years, raised her 3 kids in the house. Her husband got sick. Had a heart attack after they took, they refinanced the house, put a little capital up. Like he was out of work for a couple of years. She'd been trying to do a loan mod for 4 years. She owed 120 and her house loan be worth like 60. Well, when we bought the note, we saw all these notes in the file. And I said, let's just call her up, get her on the phone. So we negotiated a loan mod immediately with her, kept her in a house, reduced her payments from 30 years down to 7 years because we dropped her interest rate from 8% down to 0.
Wow.
She brought a little money to the table to facilitate that, and she started making her existing payment. But since she did that, we reduced her interest rate to 0, and now she just paid off her house. And don't get me wrong, we made good money on the deal too. We made a great return, but it's a great way to really do a lot of win-win in helping people stay in their houses, keeping business owners in place if you can. 6 months went by after we did the deal for this lady in Illinois, and I get a letter, and her oldest daughter had a child born, a boy, and they named it Carson after me for helping stay in the house. So it's those kind of stories that you love doing, and you get a lot of those things because most people want help. They're willing to work with you.
So it brings up a lot of questions. One, most people don't even know guys like you exist.
Right.
They think, the mortgage company starts calling when you're late, and then they start sending letters or whatever saying you got to go. And some of them freak out and just go because they don't realize they can do anything whatsoever. How would it's like, are you limited to certain states and certain areas? Are you anywhere in the country?
So I'm glad you bring this because don't call me and say, hey, Scott, can you buy my mortgage? It doesn't work that way. Okay. I'm not going to be able to call Chase or Citibank and buy your note at a discount. Doesn't work that way. I deal directly with banks. The banks every month, every quarter, they send me a list of the ones that they're looking to move.
Okay.
And I have to go off of that. And then I can contact borrowers and try to keep them in their house. But if you're struggling right now, my best advice to you is pick up the phone and call your bank, especially right now. The banks, whether you've got a government insured loan or not, are willing to play ball, to put you on a forbearance agreement, to let you stay in and then make up payments in December.
So if you end up picking up this house, they don't want to work with you, you end up taking the debt, now you own the home. Are you flipping it? Are you renting it? What do you do with the house after that?
We just sell it.
Okay, so do you only focus on homes? Do you do townhomes, condos?
All types of assets secured by real estate. So yeah, single family homes, apartments, multifamily, condos, townhomes, office buildings, hotels, mobile home parks, self-storage. If there's a mortgage on it of some sort, we look at it all.
Mobile home parks and self-storages. Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very, very profitable niche of real estate in both those.
Wow.
Because we need affordable housing across the country. Definitely need it. It's not going to be big in California, but it's big here in Texas. It's big in Florida, and self-storage has been booming since the last crisis, because people that were moving out of their houses needed a place to store their stuff.
Mm-hmm. Place to put them. We have one being built right now, right across the street. Drives me crazy. Okay, I don't remember. I'm older than you, so maybe high school has changed. But I don't remember seeing a course that says this is how you go into a business, or a college that's recruiting for people that says we're going to teach you how to do this. Okay, so how did you learn this? Where did this come from?
It's a great question. It's an even more interesting story. So I went to school for business. So I got a business degree in marketing and management from Southwest Texas State University, which is south of Austin and San Marcos, Texas. Go Bobcats! Graduated in 2001. Went into the finance industry as a financial advisor, mortgage banker. And I got hooked up with a buddy of mine that started a mortgage company that was traveling the country doing mortgages for real estate investors. This is back in 2004. And the sponsoring broker, a guy named Bob, and his business partner, Jamie, he and she were teaching creative financing, owner financing, subject to deals, all this great creative paper deals. And they taught the distressed note business. Well, the market was great in 2004, 5, and 6, but when everything went south in 2008, I left the mortgage company and I started applying what I'd learned in theory from them for 4 years. So I had like a 4-year apprenticeship. So there were 2 years I'm calling banks, I'm making some things happen, buying onesie, twosies here, sharing videos on Facebook. And one of the most interesting stories is literally, I'm a big believer in writing down your goals, because I think whatever you're at, writing down your goals gives you a bit of a compass or a North Star. So I'm sitting there, March of 2010, I remember the day, sitting there watching ESPN, okay? And they had one of those ads come on about, $5 for a beer, $6 for a hot dog, seeing all the Major League Baseball teams with your son priceless, right?
Right. I can remember that.
I would love to do that. And I'm like, well, let me so I wrote down, I pulled up the baseball schedule, what would it take for me to visit every ballpark? And it was about a 30-week trip. And I actually pulled the dates up. I was like, okay, this is just written down. And suddenly, lo and behold, I got like the next week or two, I had 4 or 5 real estate investment companies or meetup groups, networking clubs call me and ask me if they could use my articles or if I would be willing to come out and speak. And I'm like, when do you want me to come out and speak? And the times that they wanted lined up perfectly when I'd be in that city to watch a baseball game. I was like, okay, God, divine intervention there. Somebody's telling me something.
That's awesome.
So I'd gone through divorce and I sold my last house. So basically me and my dog jumped in my truck and I spent what I thought would be 30 weeks traveling the country speaking, turned it over 4 years of travel, working with bankers and borrowers and helping investors across the country. And that's what kind of really turned me into being called the note guy or the note Jedi, as people got to meet me in person, hear me speak. And I would walk into banks and literally meet with presidents who were 30, 40 years old, to be looking down at me and like, what do you know? I'm like, well, I know that you got 70 million in bad debt you need to move off your books, or you got a ton of residential that's killing you each month. And they're like, come with me. And we'd walk into the room and they'd just be stacked with files and like, can you please help us? I'm like, let's get rock and roll. So
wow. Okay. So a couple of questions running through my head. One, is there a limit? Like, do you start out the new year and say, we're going to shoot for 100 houses, we're going to shoot for 500 houses? Or do you just kind of go, let's see what the deals come through?
It will vary, depends on what's going on in the market. I would say that my goals now through next year are going to be a lot bigger than they've been the last 2 years.
Hey, I have a quick question for you. Do you want a professional agency to handle all your video creation, syndication, and monetization needs? We totally understand that new leads and customers are the lifeblood for any business. And if you're looking to grow or scale your business, using video is definitely the best way to go. Here at Melrose 11, we specialize in getting you the results you need to help you grow your business by generating new leads, driving more traffic, and closing more sales without breaking your bank. Did you know, according to HubSpot, having a well-targeted video on your landing page can increase conversions by up to 80%? Yeah, and up to 64% of users are more likely to buy a product online after watching video than by text alone. And that 92% of mobile users share videos with others. And 90% of users say that videos are helpful in their purchase decision making. Incorporating video into your marketing and social media activity is no longer an option, it's an absolute requirement if you're looking for long-term success. Heck, it may even be essential for the very survival of a business. Here at Melrose 11, media truly is our passion. We create animated explainer videos, social teasers, catchy intros, full HD commercials, and even viewer interactive videos. So, if you're looking to elevate your brand, or attract more leads, generate more sales, increase traffic, or build up more exposure for your business, then you've definitely come to the right place. Our professional team will develop your video campaigns at an affordable price, with our fast turnaround times, and a quality of work that can't be beat. We look forward to working with you.
It's like, I know people are watching right now going, I hate my corporate job, or I've always loved real estate, or he's talking my language, but I have no idea how to get into this. So if they want to get into this kind of business, how do they do it?
Education. It's a different mindset than what you see on HGTV or Flip This House. Those fictional TV shows do not represent real estate investors properly.
I can't just do it that way?
No, it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. So the best way to do is to go to your local real estate club. You can find, often every city has a real estate club, and talk to somebody who's doing notes. You can always go to our YouTube channel. We've got thousands of videos, and we've got our podcast. We just celebrated our 625th episode the other day. And so we've got a lot of experts on there. I teach a lot. And then, of course, if you go to weclosenotes.com, our main website, you can see the different educational and classes that we offer up on a regular basis.
So they can literally follow you, follow your programs, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll end up interviewing somebody a year or two from now that actually watched this and end up working with you someday.
You know, I love that. I had somebody call me the other night. A lady was talking about it, 2 deals, and I knew the people that she was buying the deals from, and she asked me about these other 2 people she'd taken these classes. I was like, oh, they're students of mine. And so if people are in the non-performing note space, they've probably come through my workshop, or they've been a student of mine in the past. So.
Okay, so we skipped something, and I know people are taking notes because I get emails, I get calls, I get text messages that says, this man said over 600 episodes of his podcast. What podcast? When is it?
We have a little podcast called The Note Closer Show. Just about 1 million downloads. We've been doing it for 3 years, and we crank out about 3 to 5 episodes a week. It's a mixture of me teaching specifics in the note industry, along with interviewing experts, vendors, and then also business mindset and other people on there to help entrepreneurs in our niche.
And you're sitting here talking about purchasing notes and all about real estate and blah, blah, blah. And you've got millions of people following you, millions of downloads. You've been doing it for years. What would you tell somebody it's basically they're scared. They're scared to do exactly totally what we're doing.
You know, most people are scared of their own shadow. running around just being all scared. But the thing is, you have to realize that actually the riches are in the niches. You've probably heard this being said before. The riches are in the niches. So everybody, there's an audience for just about everything. If you're interested in something, you can just start sharing what you're doing. A great book I think everybody should read would be Seth Godin's book, Tribes. We all have tribes, family members, peers, colleagues, and our tribes are looking for leadership. We really have a lack of leadership at all levels across the country these days. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, that's a whole different story. But what people need more than anything else in such a divided country, we need to come together on commonalities in space. So if you have a need, it's gotten so much easier than it was even 3 years ago or even 10 years ago in the podcasting space by doing on your phone or Zoom like we're doing or recording online. Just get out and start sharing. And you have to embrace the term, embrace the suck. You know, our military family knows about that. You're not going to be perfect at it first, and you just got to start cranking it out, and you'll get better at with anything. Like riding a bike, you're going to fall off and skin your knees. Just get up and keep doing that, and eventually you'll be flying by everybody.
Now, I know you're a tough guy. I know you have to keep that tough outer shell like an M&M, but you really are a good guy. Because the way I found you is you posted in one of the groups we belong to, and you said, hey, International Podcast Day is coming up. Anybody want to be on? This is what it is. And I first said, what the heck is International Podcast Day? Then I said, doesn't matter. He's doing it. I want to be in it. And I replied right away, you like helping people, because I've seen you post pretty much every week. Hey, still have spots open. Come on in. This is what we're doing. So can you tell me, one, what is International Podcast Day? And two, why are you doing this particular day?
So it's International Podcast Day was first domestic podcast day 7 years ago by the name of by a guy named Dave Lee and his father-in-law Steve, and I can't remember Steve's name, but they just started getting together with podcasters and making a day about it to celebrate their audience, celebrate being podcasters. In the last 3 years, I found this out. I'm like, oh, why not? And I reached out to them, and people are doing their own International Podcast Day. So basically, it's a day, September 30th. And for the last 3 years, we've done at least an 8-hour, sometimes a 12-hour live stream where we bring on different podcasters, whether they're brand new or seasoned, and just sharing their message, sharing who they are. And it'll be live streamed on YouTube and Facebook, all that stuff. There's no cost to it. It's just a great way, personally, for me. I'm gonna straight up and tell you what reason. I love it because I always pick up a tip or tool or a tactic from every guest that I'm on, that has on. So it's a great way not only to learn, it kind of have a mini mastermind with people for 30 minutes one-on-one. But when you think about 12 hours and you have 24 to 30 people that are doing amazing things, whether they're new or seasoned, that's what I'm like, yes, I'll create the opportunity for people. But it's also, hey, I'm going to learn a lot. It's going to help me in my promotion of my show or in promotion of my channels, stuff like that. But it's a true win-win because not everybody wants to get up and lead and do the technical work of it, because it does take a lot to herd cats. Make sure everybody's got their spot or their links.
Yeah.
But we've done that for years with online events, so it's not that hard to do. And it's just something that we can give back to the community in one way or another.
And you got more than your cousin and a couple of friends listening and watching this. You've got a few 100,000 people looking at this over time.
2 years ago we had over 150,000 views. We really dove into it, and that was in roughly about a week period. A day or two period. I don't know. I didn't keep track of it beyond the first couple of days because I had something else we're doing. But yeah, we get people international. We got somebody come and join us from Africa. Somebody will be speaking from London. Last year we had speakers from 15 or 16 countries on for the live stream. So it's a great way just to meet some great friends. I got friends that are down in New Zealand and Australia that I met that we invited on, and now I talk to them on a regular basis. We live in such a smaller world than we used to.
Yeah, technology.
And it's totally great. It's a great thing about technology, but it's also nice because, especially in what we're dealing with right now, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little depressed being in front of my computer and stuck in my house for a few months now. So this, honestly, it's actually a great mental thing for me because it allows for me to communicate, network. It's a highlight of my day when I can jump on a Zoom call with somebody and talk with them and hang out. Don't get me wrong, I love my spouse. I love my pets here, our four-legged kids. Sometimes it's just nice to have that dopamine hit from somebody else.
Now, I think I saw where your podcast show is actually on traditional platforms. You're doing satellite or something, correct?
We're on internet radio. We've got a group out of Florida that has 17 AM FM radio stations across the country, and we're syndicated on that. We have 6 episodes. 3 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings at 8 p.m. and then at 9 a.m. And then we're also have the same shows air Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights at 8 p.m. So we're from Tampa to Long Beach and in between. So Milwaukee, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh. We're trying to add. I want to add another 5 or 10 radio shows before I wrap up for the year, if we can, as far as other ways to distribute the channel, because we're all in media. We're all in the media space these days, so the more we can grow, the better.
Space, that's for sure. So do you have to have a college degree in order to be able to work the notes?
No, you don't have to have a college degree.
Okay.
We work with a lot of people, all age groups from 21 to 60 67, 68, maybe 70.
Wow.
You don't need your own money. You don't need credit to do this. We teach you how to go find investors. We teach you how to market. So we get a lot of people that come in brand new to real estate that we help, and then also seasoned real estate investors can pick it up pretty easy. It's just a little bit different as far as mindset and coaching and stuff.
So it's 10 years from now. What are you doing? Are you still doing this?
10 years from now, I'm going to be living somewhere on the beach. I would love to say retired, but I love what I do so much. Very much this background will probably be the actual background is the goal.
Excellent.
All right, somewhere where the waves are crashing.
I want to come to the barbecue.
Barbecue, girl. We having a full-out party. What are you talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Pina coladas and all sorts of stuff. But that's where I would love to be. You know, who knows? I mean, I love Austin, Texas, because I'm 2.5 hours from just about 90% of the country on Southwest Airlines. But I just someplace that's a little bit more laid back, so the hush and rush, and somewhere where there's not negative local news on a variety of cases.
Oh right? My goodness! Yeah, when you find that little cove of heaven, call me. I promise I won't tell anybody, and I won't bring a camera.
No problem.
Well, Scott, I know we could sit here and talk all day because I am just fascinated with everything that you're telling me. And I hope you'll come back on again because there's so much more to talk about. As you know, with Expert Talk, we've got people that are experts in what they do. That would be you. And then we got all kinds of people that are just trying to find their way and navigate their way to their destination. They're corporate. They're young entrepreneurs like I was when I was 10 years old trying to figure that out. And they're sitting here going, I want to be that guy. I want to take over where he left off when he goes to that island, you know?
You know, I would love to help your audience. And I teach, there's a one-day course that I teach called Note Weekend. And it's basically the Cliff Notes version of the note investing. And it's affordable at $49. But for anybody watching this, if they're interested in taking that class and learning more about it, kind of dipping their toes in the sand, I'm willing to comp them into the class for free.
Oh, wow.
So
thank you.
If they go to noteweekend.com and type in the code EXPERT, it'll zero it out and they'll get a free ticket for you.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll put it right across the bottom third. It probably went right across right now, so you don't have to text me or call me. It's there. That is awesome. I want to thank you for being on the show. I hope you'll come back again. I'm actually doing International Podcast Day. I can't wait to see what that's all about. That'll be fun. And I thank you, sir. You are amazing. I thank you for watching, and I hope you'll tune in next week. I'm Tigo, and I'll talk to you next time.